So I think the bye week came at a good time. At that point in the season, when you throw training camp in there, it had been 7 straight games in training camp, and I think our guys needed the break to rest up, heal up, focus on their academics. As coaches, we were able to get on the road a couple of days and go watch some high school football games and some practices, and so it was a productive week, but we're glad to be back to game week again. And certainly the bye week, I think, came at a good time when you play a team like Army in the offense. So the extra couple of days of prep you need for this to get the scout team going. And this, certainly in my 3 years here, is the best Army team that we have played. And it's not even close. Coach Munkin, who we worked together at Buffalo back in 1992, is an excellent coach, and you can tell it's his 3rd year. They run the offense better, they run the defense better, the players are more physical, they're stouter, they're stronger, they're faster, and they have made excellent progress. So just some things about Army. They're number 1 in the country right now in time of possession. They're number 2 in the country in rushing offense. They average over 357 yards a game. They're number 2 in the country in the fewest first downs allowed. They're number 3 in the country in total defense. They're number 8 in rushing defense, and they're number 10 in scoring defense. So this is a very well-balanced, and up front on offense, it starts from up there. Traditionally, when academy teams are good, it's because they're older, especially up front. Up front, they start 3 juniors and 2 seniors. Between the quarterback, Bradshaw, and the fullback, Davidson, those 2 have combined for over 1,100 yards. Those 2 are excellent players. The 2 slots, Ashbury and Campbell, are former high school track athletes. So they kind of have the offense where they want it. They have a fullback that can really hammer you, and he's very athletic too. The fullback can make people miss. They're doing some different things in the offense, that at times he's even the pitch back. So he's an excellent player. The quarterback is extremely dynamic. And then those 2 slot backs, wing backs, A-back, T-back, whatever you call them, are 2 guys that can go. They're track athletes that are fast, and their offense is certainly executing at the best level it ever has. And the big thing with them now is they're playing really good defense. Their defensive coordinator, Jay Bateman, Jay was on my staff at Richmond, and Jay is an excellent coach. And these guys are playing really good, well-coordinated football. It's tough to get ready for. They're an odd scheme. Not a lot of teams run that anymore, but they're based out of a 50 or an Okie package. A lot of slant, a lot of movement, a lot of zone blitzes. It's very, very tough to prepare for. You don't know who the 4th rusher is. They do a great job of mixing it up. They've done an outstanding job on 3rd down. Their 3rd down package is very, very difficult to prepare for. And, when the odd package, it's really the linebackers. And so their field linebacker, Ackerman, 21, is a really good football player. He played their boundary linebacker a year ago. He's physical. He can get off of blocks. He can rush the passer. And the boundary linebacker, Brinson, 56, this is a young man that was recruited by everybody in the country. We offered him Stanford, Notre Dame, you name it, and he chose the academy because that was what he wanted. And those guys, as edge players, those 2 guys could play anywhere in the country. And the 2 inside linebackers, King and Timpf, 11 and 39, are really good physical players. They're excellent box linebackers. They do a good job in coverage. These guys have done a great job of generating turnovers. And this is going to be a very challenging game. They hold on to the ball so long. When you break down other teams' offenses against them, there's times the other team runs 42 plays, 48 plays, 52 plays. Even last week against North Texas, at halftime, the time of possession was 22.5 to 7.5. So they do a great job of playing keep away, and they wear you down. And again, this is going to be a very challenging game for us. So they're good. We have a lot of respect for them, and but our guys are excited, and we're excited to be at home, homecoming, and hopefully we'll have a great crowd.
Is it any extra help that you've had a common opponent that you both played? Can you take anything away from that?
Nah, because their Duke game was in a monsoon. I mean, their Duke game was when you watch a film of a game like that, you throw it away. I mean, Duke was doing things differently than they traditionally do because of the weather and because of that Army was doing things. I mean, Duke lined up in more regular personnel, and I mean, that was a game is just score and stay ahead. So, you know, the beginning of the game, you can tell what the game plan was, but as that game wore on, I mean, it was very different. You know, it was a tough track for both teams.
Josh Banks was saying that with bowl eligibility was not something that the coaches had talked about with players, and I was just curious how you maybe approached that this year as far as when you set goals for a team. They know it, but do you even mention it?
I'm not going to talk about it. Our goal is to go 1-0 every week. And all those goals you have, if you go 1-0 enough times, those goals take care of themselves. So we're not talking about it. Haven't brought it up once, and we won't. So, I mean, our goal is to go 1-0. And if you do that enough, then those other goals you strive to hit take care of themselves. And so, I mean, won't even talk about it and haven't mentioned it to the team.
Did you before the season started?
Yeah, before the season started, that we said that you know, that is, and I said this to you, Dan, and you guys. I said that is a realistic goal. I believe that was a realistic goal for that football team. I didn't think it would be an easy goal, but I thought it was realistic, and it was certainly a goal that we put out there. And then I said, guys, but now we're not going to talk about it because you can't control doing that. All you control is the next game, and the next game at that point was Tulane. So at that point forward, we haven't mentioned it.
Is this a game where, given their ball control offense, is this a game where getting off to a good start is maybe exacerbated a little bit more for you guys?
Yeah, because when they play very well with a lead, they're hard to play catch up. And it's hard at times if you don't, you know, you got to value every possession. You know, Syracuse, you know, you're going to have 14, 16 possessions because of how they play. So if you have a 3 and out, you know, you can recover from it because you're going to get the ball back enough. With these guys, every possession, every rep becomes that much more valuable because you don't know how long they're going to have it. And when they're able to play keep away from people and get that offense going, and they're a team that'll go for it on 4th and 1, even on their side of the field, and because they're so efficient at what they do. And this year they're just so much more in sync, and looks like the third year. You know, the quarterback, the fullback, the defense. You know, their opening game win over Temple was a really impressive win. I mean, Temple's a good football team, and they were in control of that game.
The turnovers against North Texas, was that something that
Kind of fluky.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think you can look at that game and say, geez, I hope they turn it over. A lot of the turnovers were late when they were from behind, but you know, they threw a pick 6. And they're a team that had been winning turnover margin until that game. So, you know, those are, sometimes you get those games, you certainly can't count on it. Now, you know, we need to win the turnover battle against these guys, but I'm sure after you have a game like that, it's being coached into their heads pretty good of why they lost. Because they had, you know, really, if you take those, I mean, you can't take 7 away, but if you take 3 of them away, they maybe win the football game. And again, a lot of them were late when they were behind throwing it, which, again, is why it's so important to play with a lead against these guys if you can.
How is Kendall doing, and how much has he been able to do?
You know, he's making progress. He's been out there practicing, and we're giving him limited reps, and, you know, just every day's a new day. So, you know, there's Friday he looked good, Sunday he didn't look good. You know, and then kind of the more he goes, the better he goes. So then given Monday off, you know, today he didn't look as good to start, and they look better at the end. So that's just kind of wait and see.
So you start John?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Makes sense. I mean, he proves he can do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I said once Kendall's 100%, but
Yeah.
you know, could we be there Saturday? We could, but right now we're not.
You don't want to lose him for the rest of the year. You've talked about that.
Mm-hmm. So, but just keep pushing him and see where he goes and where we get him to, and, you know, take it day by day. So,
I was kidding, Cam Serenade, I know he's not doing much, but I said, you got the old man practice schedule where you practice on your own time, and if you're ready to go on Saturday, is that the way you look at it?
yeah, I think he'll be able to go. We'll get him going. We got him reps on last Friday.
Okay.
And then we're getting him reps in the beginning of practice and then kind of having him with the trainer. And we just want to make sure he's played a lot of football, so we can limit his reps and he'll still be ready to go. So try to get him some reps tomorrow. And, it's good to get those younger guys reps. They haven't played as much.
Well, you're quite a bit bigger than Army on the lines. And that's partially, I guess, why they play the scheme they do with the slant, and they bring a lot of blitzes. Is that something that gives you extra pause when you're thinking that they're going to come from areas?
Yeah, you can't, it's, again, their defensive coordinator, Jay Bateman, does a great job. And with Army, what you see isn't what you get. I mean, they can be bringing the field back or the boundary back or the corner, the safety. And anytime they bring people, it moves the line. So you say you have a size advantage, and when you have a size advantage, you'd like to come off and move them, but the people you're moving are never sitting still. So they play really smart with their personnel. They have a bunch of tough, stout, firm guys that are very quick. And they're undersized, but their movement skills and their discipline and their gap integrity, I mean, they're playing not good defense. They're top 3 in the country. I mean, I don't think that, I might be wrong, I don't think they gave up 100 yards rushing until North Texas. It was the first game I think they were giving up 84 yards a game on the ground until the North Texas game.
You're obviously convinced there's a different Army team than you've seen the first two. Are you convinced that your team understands that?
Yeah, they do, because, Dan, it wasn't like we blew these guys out the last 2 years.
Well, that's true.
Last year was the game, they were beating us 7-0 with 5 minutes left in the third quarter. This was a game that John got hurt, Kendall got in there, things weren't settled. And, if KJ Brent doesn't make that long catch down the sidelines, it leads to the first touchdown. If Cortez doesn't make that great play, and then, it's 14-14 with 2 minutes left, and we have the ball on the 4-yard line. And we converted a 3rd and 12 on a scramble. I mean, and then we kicked a last-second field goal on a bad snap. So I said, last year's game came down to the last play, and they are a lot better. Now, I believe we're better, but they're much better. And the year before that, I mean, they really, if their quarterback pitch is the one option, they probably walk in and beat us. So, I mean, these games have been fourth quarter nail biters, last minute games the last 2 years. So this is not a team that we've beaten by 28 and 21, and you wonder if the team. I mean, these games we were very, very fortunate. In some ways, they really outplayed us last year. We made 2 big plays, the sideline pass to KJ. Cortez had the one pass across the middle, and Kendall made 2 super runs to score. And then we had a little bit of a very lucky field goal. So, again, all their guys are back and they're better. So if we have to play much better than we did the last 2 years. And again, I think we're capable of doing that because I believe we're better. But this is not a week you can bring your B game and expect to win.
You said Army is really good defensively on 3rd down. Is that because they're setting themselves up well on 1st or 2nd down? Is that part of it?
When you break down their film, a lot of 3rd and longs, and they bring a package of 6 guys are walked up. You have no idea who's coming. They do great. There's times they're bringing 3, and 3 of their offensive linemen aren't blocking anybody. That your 5 offensive linemen are blocking 2 rushers, and your back is blocking a nose guard. I mean, it's well thought out. They know how to attack protections. And then they force the quarterback to throw in the drop 8, and then people throw a bunch of turnovers on 3rd down. So, I mean, and I speak from experience. When you're into your 3rd year, the kids understand the offense and the defense. So they've had the same offensive system for 3 years, the same defensive system for 3 years. They're now playing a lot of guys that they recruited that are bought in, and now they're more multiple on both sides of the ball. So they're not only doing what they do better, they're doing more things that make them harder to prepare for. So it's, again, they're doing a heck of a job up there. They really are, and this is it's a very good football team. So, all right, thanks.